Hello and welcome. This is Japan, and today we are going over Cody Rhodes' rivalries that he's had for the last, honestly, like what, 3 years now? Kind of back and forth of him either having the championship or other stuff in between here and there. And we're going to just talk about it as we go along because he's had a decent amount of rivalries, and some of them haven't been like to that top tier, but some of them, can really just miss the mark. So obviously S tier being the highest ranking ones, the better ones, and D being the worst. So we start off with AJ Styles. This one was like a good feud, but I think like overall, like the whole arc of everything, it just kind of missed some marks. At least for me, with AJ Styles turning heel and like doing the fake retirement thing, it worked to a certain extent, but it was like he did this and then they immediately just kind of let it simmer afterwards, and then they changed him back to being a babyface, and they really didn't do much. But like at least for the rivalry themselves, I thought it was fairly decent. I do feel like Cody has this problem with a lot of his rivalries where he ends up being the person that looks weaker out of the two. There's very few that I feel like he was the more dominant person and kind of got through it, but I think overall, I think this is kind of the perfect place to put right up in B because it's like you can kind of pick after this if it was worse or better than this, and I think that helps out a little bit. So then we have the Brock Lesnar one. It ended up with 3 matches. The problem with this match, at least to me, is that it was so red hot with like Lesnar turning on Cody Rhodes right after the Raw after Mania when he was supposed to align with Cody to take out Roman, and was it Solo, I think, at the time? Yeah, it must have been Solo at the time. It's so weird because it was just like it was a good, crazy storyline that was actually really shocking, and the matches were okay. I think the first two were okay. I can't remember if it was the very last match, and I think it was when the majority of it was just Brock throwing him out of the ring, trying to get him to get a count out, and that kind of just ruined it. I know they were supposed to do the passing the torch moment, like Brock, respected Cody now. I think I'd put it just a little bit hotter than the AJ Styles feud, but I think the ending and that the matches were way worse. The same thing with AJ Styles one. We only got the one match from it, so like if we would have had multiple matches, like a three-parter or something, I think it would have been better. Then we have Cody Rhodes versus Dominic Mysterio. This is back when it was like Cody versus the and Jay against the Judgment Day. They did pull the titles off of them. They've had some other matches where Cody's defended the title against Dom. It's kind of like one of those low key things where they haven't really just, for the most part, went from this person to this person fighting together, like and just having a feud together. So I think it would be better later on. I'll put it in C because I think there's a lot of opportunities in the future, but at the moment it's just been kind of like Dom was kind of like the side character and not like his mega heel status that he is right now. Then we have the current kind of rivalry going on: Drew McIntyre versus Cody Rhodes. Honestly, Drew would be the perfect person to dethrone Cody at some point, and I think there's a lot of stuff that could be coming from this, whole feud, but it being a little too soon, it's kind of hard to know exactly where it's gonna lie. I think I'll safely put it in B. I have liked it. I do feel like Drew's looked more powerful than Cody in most of these feuds, or in this feud in particular, but unfortunately, we still haven't figured out if we're gonna get more of this or if this is the end. I know he tagged him last SmackDown, at least according to this of this recording of this video, but what is that entitled? I think maybe Drew joins the War Games team or something happens. I guess we'll see. Then we had Cody versus Gunther. They did culminate in having the match at Crown Jewel, but there is a lot of more story going on here with Cody and Gunther, being the finals in the Royal Rumble and just kind of being almost like pillars of the WWE. Like if you don't like Gunther or you don't like Cody, but like they both have been like big champions and big time players in it. I honestly really like this feud. It's just that like I feel like we need more of it. So I'm gonna put it up in A. I really do think that they have a long arching storyline that has been, over the years, even if it's just spread in for a couple months or a couple, segments here and there, but it works pretty well. Then we had the Cody Rhodes versus heel John Cena feud. I actually really like this. Week to week, they were putting in some really good promos and really good stuff. I think the match at WrestleMania definitely sucked, but the other match at SummerSlam was slightly better. I mean, it was better, but I feel like there definitely was some missed opportunities in between that. but I think overall, I think it's probably one of Cody's better feuds because he didn't look super weak the entire time. Like I feel like the WrestleMania match, if you erase that from all of it, is a pretty good feud. Then we have Kevin Owens versus Cody Rhodes. At the moment, this is the best feud that I can think of so far on the list. Just the way how unhinged Kevin Owens was in the whole thing, and they had some really banger matches, and it was nasty out there, and I think it worked perfectly for that time in between all the major PLEs, and then like Royal Rumble, Elimination Chamber. Like it was around that time, so it was filling up a bunch of storyline where their PLEs didn't have a bunch of storylines, so it really worked out. Then we had Logan Paul versus Cody Rhodes. Honestly, the match itself wasn't bad. That ended up culminating from it, but it was weird because he was the U.S. champion, and it just kind of makes it feel odd. He tried to cheat, didn't really work out. Just wasn't a huge fan. I feel like if they redid this with like currently right now, I think it would work a lot better. But at the moment, it just feels that this one wasn't that great. I'm gonna put up in C. And then we have Randy versus Cody Rhodes. Honestly, they've been allies majority of this entire run for Cody Rhodes. Few here and there moments, but most of the time they're allies. I do think this will be an automatic S tier feud whenever they do actually feud against each other. And but at the moment, I'd put it in the worst just because they really have been on the same side of the fans. Then we go to Roman Reigns, one of his like longer feuds in between when he came back and being champion. I think it worked out really well. I mean, obviously they have good chemistry and storytelling, and they made magic in two WrestleManias in a row. And if they ever did decide to run this back for a third time for the rubber match, I think it would automatically still be a really top tier, program. So I'll put it up an S. Not, I would say. Let me see if I rank these S ones. Yeah, I think Kevin Owens, John Cena, Roman Reigns. I think all of them are pretty close. Then we have the Seth Rollins feud. It was the very first feud that he started with. This one was super personal too. It just felt like it really just like people like not necessarily they hate each other, but they definitely had a strong dislike. I don't think they really did, but it's just the way that they could run the storyline with, Cody, Cody's dad, knowing Seth and all that type of stuff. So I think there's a lot of stuff that could have been, that they explored in this. And even when we just saw this recently at the Crown Jewel, I think was also just explored really well. So and Steph finally got the win over him. So I'm gonna put up S tier. I think it's been a really good feud. Then we have Solo Sikoa versus Cody Rhodes. Honestly, I feel like this really got in the way of a lot of things. I really think Cody versus Jacob Fatu when he first came in and was still kind of a heel, I think would have cooked and had better matches and better everything. I don't really think Solo did a bad job. I just think that it was the wrong time. I think they played the wrong card because Solo should have been doing something else, and they are like having him like, "Hey, Jacob, bring the title to me" or something, and they could have set that pattern later on, but I don't know, it just wasn't it for me. I think I'd put it in C. I think it was very close to being okay, and but it just didn't really have that like bam, there it is. Then we had Cody Rhodes versus The Rock. Honestly, this feud was red hot, and they had nothing from it. It ruined Cody's first reign, to be honest, because I never felt that he was going to lose that title within that first year because it felt like The Rock was going to have to come back and at least challenge him. So unless we saw The Rock back, there was going to be no way that Cody was going to lose that. And honestly, that was the truth. So it kind of ruined everything. It could have been better, but definitely wasn't it. But yeah, tell me what you guys think. How do you guys feel about Cody's current WWE run? I think honestly, it's been pretty solid. Love or hate the guy, I feel like he's done some really good work and had some really good feuds. I mean, most of these feuds are still better than 90% of what else has been pumping out. That's the thing, because like at least there was like some reason. There was always like some like thread of storyline that was working, but you don't really see that in the rest of the WWE sometimes. So I guess we'll see how that goes. But tell me what you guys think, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, guys.